Hello, my name's Dave Bennet, and this is Coffee Chat. Today, we're on location here at the Neepawa Public Library in Neepawa, Manitoba. And my guest for today is Caitlin Henderson, who is the branch supervisor of this location. Welcome, Caitlin, and I'm glad you were able to take some time to talk to me today.
Thanks for having me around for a coffee chat.
For a coffee chat, and we don't have coffee. They didn't get.
Man.
There you go. All right. Well, so first of all, I'd like you to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. I know that you're somewhat new to the community. Where you came from and what you've done, what your training is, and that sort of thing. If you'd do that first of all, and then we'll get into this library.
So I was born and raised in Neepawa, which is roughly 6 hours north of here, and then went there until I graduated, and then moved out to Saskatoon for school, and they do a library technician course there. So I found that out in my grad year, and I was like, that sounds like the perfect place for me.
Oh, good.
And yeah, stayed in Saskatoon for a little bit after I finished that course, and then moved back to Neepawa and worked my way up the library there.
Okay.
So I was administrator back there at the public library, and then Debbie retired from the Neepawa library,
Yes.
and my family in town said, hey, we know a perfect spot for you.
So you are related to some of the Hendersons around Neepawa,
Yep,
then I take it.
I
You say
am,
your family
yeah.
and such. So you were telling me that your grandfather, is it? That's,
Yep. My grandfather was Morley Henderson, and yeah, him and my granny moved here almost 20 years ago now, but the Hendersons were big in Franklin, and
Yeah. Well,
a
he
few
went-
of them have stayed around.
Sure. I mean, he went to school here. I remember.
Yep.
You know,
Yep, back in the day.
I remember back in the day a number of Hendersons and so on. That's right.
Yeah, so
Well,
a
that's
few of
good.
them are
Well,
still
welcome
around.
back to Neepawa. I hope you're enjoying. So, how long have you been here?
I just got here this summer.
Okay, so just a few months.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So, okay. So, tell us about library membership. I think that's what a lot of people don't maybe understand. They think it's costly or whatever. Like, how does the membership work? I know we're a branch of the Westman Regional Library. Is that correct?
The Western Regional, yep.
Right. So, just explain that a little bit, please. So.
Yeah, and that's been the trickiest part for me moving here. I'm not used to so many communities all so close together.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, the Western Regional Manitoba Library, that's what we're a part of now. And it includes places like Brandon is the head
Yes.
of the whole region there. And then we've got like Hartney, Grassland, the Glenboro, us, places like that. And we have some agreements with some other like RMs and municipalities that are nearby
Okay.
some of those communities. But anybody residing in those places can get a membership for free.
For
And
free.
then
So
if
that
you're
in-
not in those places, that's where there sadly is a small fee for
So the RMs that surround Neepawa are included in the in our branch?
not
are
all
they?
of them.
Not all of them.
No, so like Arm of Rosedale unfortunately doesn't pay into our system, so that would be considered a non-resident, whereas places like, we have like an agreement with Cypress Langford.
Okay, right. And Lansdowne?
That one might be for a different library, but yeah.
A different. Yeah, they're
Yeah, so-
they're a bit east of Neepawa, but
Yeah, so and
right.
within all the branches, like you can use your membership at any of the branches.
Okay.
So
okay.
sign up in Brandon, you can still use it here. Sign up here, you can still use it in Hartney.
But it's free for all those people, but they still need to get a membership.
Yep, we just need to confirm that you're in one of those areas, and then you're good to go.
And they get a card that they can use.
And you can use it at all the branches.
You go to any of those branches to take it, get services or borrow a book or whatever is available there.
Yeah, and you can always check it whichever library is closest to you, or online, even on our website.
right.
We've got the list of all the places that count as a resident.
So do you know what percentage of non-residents that have to pay that would have taken a membership in our library? Do you know that? Or?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I do know there is a small number of people that do pay into
Right.
using this place, because especially if it's the closest one nearby, but you're not part of this
Yes.
counting as part of a municipality, it can get kind of trickier to find a closer one that you'd count as. But
And how much does that cost? Do you know?
there's some varying fees. The average right now is the year long is $50.
Okay.
That's the most common
Right.
one, but we do actually have an agreement with the Beautiful Plains school district, and staff and students can actually get them for free. It doesn't matter where they
live.
as long as they're employed or a student at
So
one
you
of the
have
schools.
a breakdown or know like how many members have we got in this branch, and would they be, as you mentioned, the school division has access to it as well. Do you have any breakdown on how big we are in terms of membership?
For active memberships for us, we
Sure.
only hover at about 1,000 people that are actively using their card for just this branch. The region as a whole, everybody has
Right. So,
their
but that's
numbers,
actually, those cards are used,
those cards are currently active, are actually being
used. Like I personally don't access the library very much, but I have a membership, so am I included in the active membership?
yeah, as long as it hasn't expired, because depending
Okay.
on how long it's been, we do
Right.
have them set up to expire just so we can update info.
Of
and
course, yeah,
whatnot.
and see if people have left the
Yeah.
community or whatever, sure.
So
Yeah.
as long as it's active, it still counts for us.
Okay, yeah. What are the benefits of being connected to the Manitoba Regional? Just explain that
Yeah.
to me and others. It must be, we're part of it, so there are some major benefits, I would
Yeah.
think.
The biggest benefit, or the most patron-forward benefit, is our library is physically a bit on the smaller side.
Right,
So it really helps there because access to some physical materials like books and magazines and audiobooks and whatnot,
okay.
all of that we can share amongst all the branches. So we're not limited to just what's physically on the
So
shelves
by
here.
share, you move the material around between
Yep.
the branches? That's what you mean?
Yeah, so we do temporary loans from Brandon, so we always have a display set up here that has stuff that's on loan from Brandon, but then we also can request and send out
Oh,
anything
so
between the branches. Yeah.
somebody comes in and I see you've got a mystery writer section there.
Yep.
So that if they're into a particular author of mystery and they've heard about a new book or one of the ones they'd like to read and it's not available here, you can.
We can check and see if
And
one of the other branches has it
get
and
it
send
brought
it.
in.
Usually only takes a couple days, just
Okay.
however long the mail's going that day.
Then there's no charge for that.
Nope.
No, so.
That's the perk of it being part of the
Right.
region is, yeah, we can all share all the resources.
So how often does that happen, that you move that material around, and how much gets moved around? Like, is it quite a bit, or?
We send, we basically check the mail daily because everyone will send out stuff every day basically. So there's no scheduled visits or anything for
So,
that. It's all just through the mail, so we
Once,
can
you
pack
don't
it
once,
up and send
you
it
don't once a
whenever.
month have a major shuffle or whatever?
No,
It's
only the stuff that we get loaned from Brandon.
Oh,
Those
right.
things we do every couple months. We'll do a big batch switch, and every month we'll do just mini switches of
okay.
some material. But that's just for stuff that we bring here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
But if it's stuff that we just don't have on our shelves and we're requesting from Brandon, say, we can request that whenever and get it
In a
probably
day
in
or
like 2-3 days
2 or
max.
3
Yeah.
days kind of thing, yeah. Well, that's definitely a benefit of
Yeah.
belonging, our branch belonging to that. So, is there a cost or fee that the branches pay into Brandon in order to access those services and so on? Like, is it like does your library, Neepawa Library, have a membership fee that they have to pay into the?
No, it's kind of counted, like we're basically counting when you look at the financial part, it's all one big library.
Oh, okay.
Necessarily, so Brandon being the head office for us, everything goes to them and then they're dividing everything up
Right.
amongst
Okay. And
everybody.
hence, we're called a branch.
Yep.
And you're a branch supervisor, so you're part of that, yeah.
Usually you see that more in the city of having the branches, but we're just a little bit more spread out. Functions similarly, but
So, what are your open times here, just while we're talking about things like that?
so we are open a little bit, our hours are extended, so it's a little bit trickier now for remembering, but Monday to Friday we're 10 to 5:30, except for Thursdays we're actually open till 7.
Oh, okay.
And then we've just started opening on Saturdays, which is 10 to 2.
Okay, and that more for the winter season in a sense, it's kind of stay open a bit longer, more days or whatever.
One, we found more and more people are wanting places to hang out or study and whatnot, and then us normally being only open during typical Monday to Friday working hours makes it harder for some people to get in.
Right.
So extending us a little bit later and then having the Saturday has helped for if you can't make it in during the week,
Right.
or if your kid's studying and needs
So
place
you've
to be.
noticed that people appreciate that and are using it at those times?
Yep, especially the Saturday. We've only had a couple
Okay.
Saturdays open, and that one's really,
You've-
we've had a pretty consistent group coming
Group
now
coming.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So, do you have any, I know you haven't been here long, so maybe off the top of your head you would know this, but the type of people that are using it, is it more younger children, school-age children, early adults, or senior citizens like me?
It's been actually quite a evenly broken out
Really?
group. Yeah, I think as per most libraries, the hardest group to bring is teenagers, but
Right, okay.
even then we still have a few regulars for that group. But
Mm-hmm.
like we'll have kids only yay big just out of just wrapped in their blankets, or we'll have the seniors coming in, everybody in between.
Okay. And there's a number of stacks, and we can't see them on camera.
Yeah.
Of course, you only see this one stack of books that's here, but there's about 6 before we got out the door, mostly non-fiction. But
Mostly fiction.
Mostly fiction,
Yeah.
sorry, right. And you have some non-fiction in the mystery section you told me about.
And then the kids' library's up at the front.
Oh,
Where all
okay.
the picture books and things like that
Right.
are.
And they can take those out with, well, they don't have a membership, but their parent does. so
Some
they-
kids do, but
Some kids do. So is there an age, a lower age where you can be a member?
no, you can, day one of being on this earth, you can get a
You
membership.
get a membership.
You're definitely not going to be signing it up yourself. That'll most likely
Right,
be
right.
a parent
But that-
coming in, but
Well, that's kind of neat that the little one has their own membership. That's kind of
some
exciting.
little kids really enjoy
I'm
having
sure.
their own card and being able to say, "This is my card. Here are my books."
Oh, yeah, get them trained early to get off their, well, hopefully they're not on phones yet at that age, but, that, and get into paper print and that sort of thing. So, tell me, what's offered besides books?
That
That's
is
what
still
you
our
think of a
biggest
lot.
one,
That's your
but-
biggest one. What else does the library offer?
Well, we do have some DVDs, some audiobooks, magazines, some things like that, which are generally standard for a library now. But we also have some cool tools, like we have the radon testing kits here
Oh.
that you can borrow, and we also have
And they're free to borrow too?
just with your membership. Yep.
Okay, now radon, maybe
Yep.
just to do a little bit of explanation if you can. What is a radon testing kit?
Well, these ones are pretty basic ones. They're nothing super intense or anything. Basically, you're just for a day or a couple of days. They're about this big, and you can leave them sitting in your home it'll start scanning around you to see what your
Okay.
levels of radon are, to then know if you need to go do further testing. These are like the entry point.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, so if it's low enough that you don't have to panic about it, then you're good. But if it's anything major, it'll let you know, and then you'll know
And
what
then-
next steps you need to take.
And then
yeah.
you need to get a professional
Yeah,
in or
then
whatever.
you're looking
that,
at
if
some
you've
things,
got
but that's a
problem
starting
or
point.
Sort of thing. And you just leave it sitting in the living room.
Yep, just leave it sitting, and we have little info booklets that
Sure,
go with it.
talks
and
about it and so on.
whatnot.
Okay, was that the only thing of that nature that you have
No,
that
we
you
also-
read of?
That's a more serious one, but we do some fun things. There's the kids can borrow, well, anyone can borrow, but we have for kids the Leapfrog reading kits.
Oh, yes, right.
So helping them learn
Mm-hmm.
how to read, and the fun little thing. They're like little laptop book things. And then we also have a telescope here that you can
Oh.
borrow.
Really, and
It's
so,
it's on the simplest side. It's nothing too fancy, no like astronomer level, but it is a pretty decent one for looking out around here.
would that be an example of maybe a good thing to do for maybe a 10-year-old's birthday party or something like that? That they
That,
could,
or I know when we had like the eclipse recently, or like the comet coming through, people have borrowed it to try
Oh,
to
have
get
they?
better views of
Okay.
that. Yeah.
so it's a fairly good one. What's the, how much this thing cost?
I don't know that part off the top.
Okay.
Like, that was before I got here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So it's a pretty decent one though.
Decent
like it's
one.
yeah, setting it up, it's pretty sturdy.
Okay, and to use it would be fairly simple to learn. Did you
Yeah, it's not too many pieces, so setting it up
Yeah.
isn't too hard. And
You-
it comes with instructions.
instructions and so on, and
whatnot.
you could give a bit of training or explain to people how to use it and so on?
Yeah, usually we open it up and make sure everything's there before we even give it out to anybody, and
Okay, right.
see if they know what their
Well,
comfort
that's-
level is with it.
Well, that's a neat idea. What about the computers up front then? You have, those are available to members, are
Yeah,
they?
we've got 2 public computers, which are actually open to anybody, membership or not.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yep. Membership, you can just not even talk to us if you don't want to and just log in and start using them.
Okay.
And if you're not a member, you just need to get a login from us and you're free to go on
To
them.
do
And they're
that.
just regular internet computers, so you can do whatever you need to do on them. And then we also have the printing option there too
Option
if you
there.
need to
Probably
print
have to pay for
anything.
paper ink a little bit. But,
Yeah, because those toners are expensive for a printer. Yeah.
and most people that have computers at home and printing and so on, you're always getting more ink or more toner or whatever
Yep.
to get that. So you said non-members can use that. That probably be the only thing in here that non-members could access, I suppose.
Actually, no, we do have more.
Tell me.
We have puzzles up at the front, and you don't need a membership for that. And it's a puzzle exchange, is what we've called it. And
You bring a
most-
puzzle in and they take one out?
most of the
or what?
branches, I think, now have a section for the puzzles because it's surprisingly popular.
Puzzling is very popular. The NACTV did a puzzle
Yeah, there was a competition, yeah.
competition last year, and apparently they're going to do it again.
Yeah, I saw it.
Well,
I
the
saw
TV
there was another one
station
coming
didn't
up.
do it; they just covered it.
Yeah.
But here it's on again. This
So it's called exchange because, yeah, the idea is you take when you leave one, but
Okay.
you don't have to leave one because we actually have quite the back stock of puzzles.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, you can borrow them from here, and if it takes you 5 months to do it, that's fine. They don't get signed out like a traditional
Oh, okay.
item here, which is
Right.
why you don't need a membership. You just have to
membership.
let us know how many you're taking, and then bring them back when you're finished, and
okay.
it's good. And then we also have, they'll be just off the view, but these spinner shelves on the side, to the side of us.
Uh-huh.
They actually have some pocketbooks that you don't need to sign
Oh,
out.
okay.
They're similar to the puzzles. You take them out and
So it's like
you just
a-
let us know how much you're taking, and then we can track the numbers, and then yeah. you
And
can
hopefully
read
they
them at your
bring
speed, and
them
then,
back, or some other ones. You can do a book
Yep.
exchange on that kind of a thing too. So
So yeah, those things you don't need a membership for, and that's part of why we did it is accessibility, because not everybody has the $50 to pay for a full
Right.
membership, and then it makes it that, or if you're just temporarily in town, because camping and whatnot in the summer especially,
right.
we'll get
right.
lots of people that aren't from here, so they can still borrow
do some
something
things like
technically.
that,
Yeah.
right. And it's also a bit of an advertising thing for you as
Yeah.
well, people that aren't members, and then they see what's available in the building and so on, and maybe they become a member
Yeah.
if they're local, close
And we
enough
have
to do
some
that.
people that even if they are members, they'll be borrowing stuff off the shelves, and they'll also grab stuff that
Well, sure.
is for because whatever they want to read.
Well, I think like a library seems to be somewhat of an unknown gem in a community, and a lot of people don't realize, how much is in there and what they could make use of it and so on. They
Now, the
really
people
do.
who use the library really use the library, and then people who don't often forget about it. And they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about going to the library. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we've been here and we've
Been-
got stuff that you
Yeah,
can
they could
use.
drive by on Davidson Street here for 6 months and not even realize the library's here, or not see it if they did know it was here. Yeah, it seems to be the way it goes. Well, with anything, once you start using something and get into it, then you do make use of it for a while, don't you? That's right. So, back to the computers, you said anybody can come, of course. Do you do any training, like help people to use those? I mean, I know people that still aren't familiar enough
Yeah.
with a computer to do much with it. They've learned their phone because they carry that with them
Yeah.
and so on. But to sit down and use a computer, there's still a lot of people of my age and younger than me too, that just, they're still afraid of them. Do you offer training programs? Or anything?
Currently, we don't at this branch. We did hire a part-time programming assistant. Her name's Chelsea. So we're hoping that we can get a few more programs, including things like that, going.
Okay, how many, there's standalones, I assume. How many computers are there?
There's just the 2
Two.
public computers there, yeah. So that's where it gets a little bit trickier for training, but
Right, with only two. Well, but maybe it's better because you're only got
Do
two
some
people you're
one-on-one,
working
yeah.
with, or one-on-one. Exactly. So somebody can just bring in their own little SD card or whatever and or drive and hook up, and away they go if they like.
yeah, if
that.
you're trying to save something, if you're
Yeah.
just using the internet, you can just pop on whenever. But we do have Wi-Fi too if you're wanting to use like your own,
Your
like
own, so
phone
there's-
or your laptop.
So
or
a
tablet.
non-member could come in here and use your Wi-Fi,
Yep.
and it's pretty good.
Wi-Fi, bathroom. We even got like a little water
Oh,
fountain
okay.
thing to fill up your water bottle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got a pretty good Wi-Fi signal too. I'm assuming it would be pretty good. So that.
Yep. Reaches pretty much, I think, most corners of this
Right. Right.
building.
So you mentioned newspapers and publications like that and so on. Do you get people coming in here to read the paper daily or something like that, or what do you have for papers?
Newspapers, we don't have it. Like we just have the banner out front,
Right.
sitting
okay.
there. We used to do some of the bigger out of town publications, but especially since COVID, lots of them stopped driving out and delivering. And
Like
then
Brandon Sun when you say out of
and
town,
then,
you mean?
and then since then we haven't budget-wise worked that back into
Okay.
budget. We've had a few people asking about newspapers from out of town, but haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Magazines, you said something about
Magazines we
magazines?
do have, yeah. We have a few subscriptions and whatnot, and those are also at the front.
So what magazines or what type of
Our most
genre?
popular ones are the quilting ones. We got lots of quilters in this
Oh,
town.
yeah, that's for sure. That's for
So we
sure.
have quite a few of those ones, but then we have some more generic,
You got
like
sports
home
in?
ones, and we've got some
You got like
Canadian
Sports Illustrated
like-
or any of the sports magazines or anything
Not
like that?
sports ones. I
Yeah.
haven't had too many inquiries
Inquiries?
about sport ones yet, but yeah, we've got some Reader's Digest, like things, some more generic reading for those ones.
You've got emails of most of your members, I would assume. That's one of the questions on the membership. Do you send out email, like broadcast once a month or something like that as to what's going on, or try to get some survey information back from your members or whatever? Do you utilize that feature much?
No, because one of the things when people sign up are very hesitant about giving their emails because they don't want to get
Okay.
spammed with a bunch of newsletters and they don't want to have that too available to them.
Okay.
Lots of people are opting for text message notifications for things, but yeah, we don't utilize the email too much for reaching out to people just because based on my few months here, people are very much
you get-
I don't want to be
Yeah, really?
contacted
Okay,
yet.
yeah, well, it certainly has become, well, the texting too, really, you get a
Yeah.
lot of text that you really don't want coming from you don't know
Yeah.
where.
So now usually if we're trying to get any info, we'll post about it publicly and then have people say they can reach out
Okay,
to
so,
us if they want. That way they're
so
not
you have a
getting-
Facebook page, or what do you
Yeah,
mean?
we've got both the region has a Facebook page, so just the Western Manitoba
Right.
Regional, and then each branch has their own social media page too. And then that's where we post, most of our, if we've got upcoming events.
Right, so
or
your
if-
regular users can follow you
Yep,
that way.
check in with us, and,
Yeah, that way
and then we'll
kind of
put
thing.
posters up around town and things.
Right, yeah. So you mentioned the children's area up front.
Yeah.
So, that's where your children's books and that are, and I know you've got kind of a little crafty kind of a thing there, and I know you do a reading to children, because the Rotarians do that, and I've done it on occasion, once a month or two, that sort of thing. Do you have other children's programs than what I might have seen on that Friday morning?
Yeah, the Friday morning's the story time, which the Rotary is very generous in
Yeah.
volunteering members to do the reading aspect. And then we have things like baby time on Wednesday mornings, and we've got our book clubs are back up and running. We have quite a few things that are happening in
So,
this
okay,
place.
tell me, what's baby time on Wednesday mornings?
Similar to the story time, it's usually just geared a little bit more for the babies.
Okay.
That the crafting aspect that we usually do in the story time and whatnot might be a bit too advanced for. That it's more focused on the story, some songs, things like that.
Okay, so yeah, I can see singing and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but-
and then like some hand-eye coordination moves and whatnot.
Okay.
There's
It also provides an opportunity for new mothers
The
or whatever
socializing
to
aspect,
socialize
yeah.
and share
especially
some ideas.
since COVID. Yeah.
Right. So is that a popular, like, how many mothers and babies or fathers and babies? Be careful.
There's never a standard number week to week. Some days we can have nobody, and sometimes we'll be overrun with like 20 different
Oh, wow,
people. It
really?
really just depends on the week and what
Yeah.
else is going on in town, but we always like to at least have it available for whenever.
That's
people-
Wednesday mornings at?
That's at 10:30.
at 10:30, and the children's reading on the Friday is,
11,
at 11 on Friday morning. So anybody of our viewership out there seeing that, and check with the library here.
And we
if
have
you
little
want some more-
print-offs too that have some of our more regular programming that we have the dates and times and whatnot for, so
That
people can grab that
can
if they,
grab that at the
instead of
front
trying
desk,
to remember all the different days.
at the front desk and so on.
Because trying to remember all the different things, especially if
Yeah,
you're a
that'd be
household of a
great.
bunch of different ages, it's
Yeah, that was
much easier just to have the handy little sheet with all the different programs.
Surely. Okay, so I'm trying to think around the room here as to what maybe I've missed. What about the back room? Now, I know you've got it reasonably large.
Yeah.
I mean, it can handle 50 people back there at a meeting, because I've been there at that before. Is there a charge for that? Is that
Depends on what kind of a group you are. For nonprofits and open groups, if it's during library hour, like there's not a fee
okay?
for using it. If you're like more business or a closed group, there is a slight fee for
Slight
it, and it
fee.
just depends on whether we're open or closed and what day of
Surely,
the weeks
yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, anybody can rent that. The only caveat is somebody in the group has to have a membership because we have to sign out the key to you.
Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. So do you use that room yourself?
Yeah, if we're
And
doing
for what?
if we're doing any programming or events, if they're going to be too rowdy or need too much space for out here, we'll end up using the back.
Okay. You mentioned book club.
Yes.
What is that for adults, for teenagers,
It can be for
kids?
anybody.
What have you done in that
It's mostly
regard?
adults. It's pretty much all adults right now, but technically it is open to anybody. We've added a second one. We've only ever had one during the daytime, but we've added an evening one now just to
Okay.
open that up in case anybody who would normally be working or whatnot can still participate. And they're run separately. They are both focusing on different books or different authors at any given time, and that one's open for anybody to join at any point. You don't have to be there from day one. You can just join in
Just
that
join
month
in
and then
or
not come
whatever.
in for 3 months and come again. And
You need a membership for it, of course.
that one, nope.
Oh, really?
If you have the books on your own or whatnot, you can do it. Yeah, pretty much all of our programming and events, doesn't matter if you have membership or not, you can
Oh, wow.
participate. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. That one, and as I said, that's a bit of advertising you too. Maybe somebody, or if they don't want a membership, they might just make a donation too. I'm sure you wouldn't turn down a donation from anybody
Libraries will never turn that down.
for some of the services that they got. So, like, it's what I would think of as a standard book club. Everybody reads a certain passage or a book or whatever, and then somebody's in charge of the discussion. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so the daytime book club, they've got basically their full year each month. They've got a plan already of what the
So these are
subjects
regulars. These are regular.
There's a good chunk of them that are regular patrons, and some of it can be specific. Like the evening book club for October did like a Halloween themed
Oh, sure.
specific title, whereas the daytime one did a certain author, so you could read any book by that author. And that's been kind of the thought for each book club. It can be a specific book, it can be an author, a subject. Some of them are pretty open.
They somewhat organize themselves, I would think, in terms of what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
And so on.
So yeah, the daytime one, they sat down on that first meeting back because they paused for the summer, and
Okay.
they sat and planned their whole couple meetings worth of prompts for reading. So like this month, theirs is any autobiography or memoir or whatnot.
Okay.
So that's completely open. You can pick
Pick
anything.
whatever.
So you can pick any of like the celebrity ones that are behind us.
Okay. Do they have like a leader, a chairperson, or
Not
whatever of the
officially.
group? But somebody must take charge.
Yeah,
I think.
there's a core couple people that somewhat run it, but if they're unavailable, there's
Yeah.
the next person around. And the evening one is done by library just because that one's the new one.
So are you open during that library time, or somebody would have to be a member to get a key?
No, we're open. We have the door from the library side, so everyone can
Okay, so
pop in
that's
that way. Yep.
when you're open. On the night that you're open is
Yep.
when that's.
Which
going
is,
on.
yeah, they're both on Thursdays, so we never have to panic about
Oh, okay.
being open because that's the day we're open late.
You're open late on
Yeah.
Thursdays. So, well, how long is this book club? Well, you haven't been here, but maybe you know how long has this book club idea been running?
The book club's been quite a few years now for the daytime
Okay.
one. The evening one was just new this fall.
Okay.
So we're seeing how that one goes.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? Maybe you had some ideas that you worked with or saw worked well in other places, the PAW that you were at and so on. Have you brought some other ideas here to Neepawa Public Library, or do you have some that you're thinking about?
I always got a million ideas.
Oh, good for you.
But
Good
some
for
of
you.
them are a little bit out there, but I've always got some ideas going. No, my biggest thing since I've been here is mostly just trying to figure out the community and figure out our patrons and
Of course, yeah.
whatnot. So I'm just coming up on feeling comfortable enough for that soon we'll have some changes hopefully happening. But yeah, that's mostly since I've been here because it's just different enough of a area
Right.
for me from being up north
Good.
that getting comfortable before I start messing around with things.
Too much.
Yeah.
And, okay, you've used the pronoun we a number of times, so you have some part-time staff, do you? Or do you have any full-time staff?
It's just me for full time, but we do have 2 part-time workers during the week that cover
Okay.
the desk mostly, and then we've got our Saturday hours person, and then we've got, as I mentioned, our programming assistant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have volunteers for things as well, or are you looking for volunteers at all?
Always looking for volunteers because we mentioned the Rotary
Right, for
did
reading,
the
yes.
reading, but we've had a few people inquire about helping us with certain projects, which has been great, but we're always looking for anybody who wants to help, and it can be for helping us keep the place organized, or if anyone, right now the biggest thing is we want to offer some more learning opportunities for patrons. So if you have a cool skill or knowledgeable in a certain area, we want to start running some programs volunteer-led of them showing and teaching the
So,
community.
okay, you must have some thoughts of that sort of thing. Like the thought that crossed my mind was maybe a specific craft of some
Yep.
kind or other that somebody might know and be willing to teach and so on.
Yep, like we'd really love it if we can get some, like a knitting or crocheting class,
Okay.
like a teaching moment for that, or some languages, and well, like any good skill and whatnot.
What about those paint nights I've heard about, or whatever that you know, they paint a picture or whatever? I mean, I've heard of these, more of a social thing, I guess. Well, they ran them in town here, I think. It was a
Yeah.
social evening, and they did the painting as well, or whatever. I guess something on that
Things
line
like that,
might
yeah.
work. Yeah. Well, people have ideas. They should certainly
They should definitely check in
come
with
here
us,
and talk
yeah.
to Caitlin. That she's open for ideas, and the other room there would provide
Yeah, we've got lots of space
room
to offer
for 30
things.
people or whatever, and they don't need to be library members.
Nope.
Other than maybe one if you wanted it on an evening.
If you have wanted when we're closed, yep.
Yeah, and it's closed so that they could open up, and there might be a small charge for the use of the room if it wasn't,
But
you
if
know,
if we're counting it as a library program, we wouldn't
program,
have to worry
then
about
that
it.
wouldn't be the case either then.
Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunities there for that sort of
And
thing.
that's our biggest thing right now, especially because we've got our programming assistant, but she's very limited hours
Okay.
that we'd really like to get some volunteers in to help.
So can you
run
tell me
something.
who that is? Maybe our viewers would know.
Her name's Chelsea,
Okay.
and she is, I believe, from town. She, I
Okay.
believe, was raised here, and then she just finished school, I believe, so she's here working.
Oh,
See what happens.
okay, I mean, they certainly, viewers could contact you at the library here or the front
Yeah.
desk and, you know, find out how, if they had an idea, to get in contact with Chelsea and so on.
Yeah, and we like to have our social media, our email, or call
Sure.
or come in. Yeah, we can
That it's
point
that
you in
it's
the
up
right
there.
direction.
Yeah, okay. I'll just check my notes here and see if there's anything else that we've... Do you do school visits? Like some teachers say bring a class down for some purpose? Has that happened?
Usually when the weather is nicer, we'll get an influx of teachers wanting to do tours and whatnot, and usually plan some fun things for when they're
Okay,
here.
that would be
Yeah.
more end of year, I suppose, when they're doing things.
Yeah, because especially in the winter time, nobody wants to go out.
No. Mind you, early in the year might be better if you wanted to get the kids acclimatized
Well, and
to using
I guess
the
with how
facility.
how good the weather's been lately, it
Yeah.
could have held off for a while there for doing
Mind you,
it.
the school division has buses.
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, if there was a group that particularly wanted to come and you could accommodate them, I mean, there'd be a way to get them here, I'm
So yeah,
sure.
usually from spring till end
Yeah.
of the school year, we get quite a few people wanting to do tours.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple more things here. What about the oversight of this? I would call it like board. You've said we, so obviously there's a
Yeah, we do
board.
have a board. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about the board and what their function is, and if you have enough members, are you looking for more members on the board or whatever?
I believe the board's currently full right now, but we'll always post about it if there's openings.
Right.
Right now, the board is consistent of each branch that's in it.
Each municipality,
yeah,
like
they get a counselor and they get a citizen
okay.
to be able to sit on the board, and they usually meet in Brandon because that's again the head.
Oh, so this is a regional board, not a Neepawa Public Library board?
Yep.
Oh,
They
I
have a
see.
regional board that oversees everyone, and that's why there's members from each community that are on
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
You don't have a overseeing, helping group like just for yourself here, you know, to...
We do, not technically for the library overall, but partially for that, our back meeting room space, because it's separate from the regional system. So there is a committee for that.
Oh, okay, that kind of
Yeah.
looks...
Yeah, so they handle the, what happens for that back room and make decisions for finances and stuff that come out of that. So they have their own separate committee board for that, but for the actual functioning of the library, it's the regional library board.
So, okay, as far as, you know, your budget and finances for this location, you're pretty much the contact that works with the overall finance committee of the regional board. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so we've got, luckily we've got the local people on the board that are always rooting for us.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Yep. And yeah, it's yearly the budget gets made up for the region and we all can have some insight, and then the board is the one responsible for officially deciding how it's all breaking down and approving that.
In order for you to get an extra person like Chelsea, for example,
Yeah.
the programming, and that's a request that you have
Yeah.
to make through the
And it's
budgeting
gotta be
process and
approved,
so on,
yeah.
through the regional.
Yeah.
Okay, so didn't know that, so that's good to know too. Well, what, I think I've covered most of the thoughts
Covered
that
quite a bit in
I think
this,
we
yeah.
have, we definitely have. What challenges maybe do you see in the future for libraries in general, or this library, or what else would maybe you'd like to say?
Well, hopefully we don't have to face too many challenges here. Luckily, our community is very supportive and enjoys the library, so I'm not currently worried about anything happening there. Challenges, money is always an issue, especially today. Cost of living is expensive and books keep going up in price, and
So if somebody wants to make a donation, can they donate it to the public, to the Neepawa Public Library, or does it go into the big pot of the regional?
it technically goes into the big pot of the regional. We
Yeah.
do keep some aspects of it, so we do record like where the donations are coming from, which branches and whatnot, so that it can accurately go back to
Okay,
the branches that they're getting donated to, because yeah, not fair to be donating here and it all go to Brandon or something.
right. But if you had a particular requirement for here, like, I don't know, a device or a machine or something other for your front desk, and, you know, some kind person or club or whatever in town
Wants to
said, well,
donate,
sure,
yep.
we'll put up $200 for that.
Yep.
But the $200 would go to Brandon, would it? Or to the region, I should say, and
Yeah, that's where we'd start getting into special.
you need to negotiate
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So that's where the con part of the regional
Yeah.
system is, that everything has to flow through
Flow through there.
the board and the
So-
region as a whole. But luckily, everybody that's involved is pretty supportive of
Well, if,
making sure everybody's getting what they
if
need.
it was donated for a specific purpose
Yeah.
in a specific location, I'm
Yep.
sure it would work out there, yeah.
And especially if it's like an actual item itself, instead of donating the money, just donating whatever the
Mm-hmm.
item might be. Yeah, we can directly take those.
So what's the phone number here?
I'm like,
Do you know
trick
that?
me with that. I'm like, I don't even know my own phone number. I don't call myself that
We'll
often.
put it up on the screen. It's
Like,
like-
who knows their numbers anymore?
I know, isn't that something? You just push contact, right?
I'm like, call.
That's your one. Well, thank you very much, Caitlin, for sitting down with me and telling us a bit about the library and
Anytime you
your
wanna come
role.
in.
Nice to meet you, new in the community.
I guess I'll see you around for
Well, I'll be here
Next
to
time you
read,
read, yeah.
next time I read, so I'll be around, but, so invite Caitlin.
Maybe I'll have
and
to
the-
get you to read a story for the viewers one day.
Well, we've done a bit of that too, but the children's books have to be in
Gotta
the
get
public,
permission for
in the
that,
public
yep.
domain or get permission for them and so on. So anyway, thank you for joining in today for Coffee Chat. Caitlin Henderson, the branch supervisor here at the Neepawa Public Library, has been my guest today. I hope you've enjoyed the show and join us again in the future for Coffee Chat.